Okay, hello everyone. My name is Arash. This is actually the first time I'm recording a video that's gonna be on YouTube. I think I should have done a couple of other recordings before, but either way, basically the subject is about the whole election of Trump as a president, and I wanted to pitch in basically and throw some ideas. My impression is that the American foreign policy and the way that things are going to be like throughout the next 4 years and possibly the next 8 years are not going to change by any means. Maybe slightly bit here or there, and some bits, some jurisdictions, some ways, but in general there's not going to be much of change because the presidents are not really the ones who run the affair and make the decisions, but they're the big ass corporate owners who actually dictate to them how and what to do. So don't be too concerned, number one. But what really concerned me is that the people who actually selected him, and this is terrible, and this is horrible, and this is very, very concerning, that I think there are lots of, I have to call them idiots, who decided to do this. And it's terrible that there are that much of idiots out there who actually thought this guy would be a good leader, even though they're not aware of the whole fact that, you know, the president is not the one who's making the decision, is not the leader, but they're the people behind the scene who actually direct him how to do things. But this is definitely a day to kind of mourn about the whole thing. I mean, definitely the election of George W. Bush to begin with was a mere disaster by itself, but I really thought that would never happen again, especially with this guy having no notion of whatsoever in politics. He has no background at absolutely anything in the politics. But you know what? I'm not actually an American, you know, and I don't think that makes a difference at all, because anything that you do in our world will either way will affect the rest of the world. And it goes beyond his election, because the way people in America, these people who are running the country behind the scene, are making a decision for the entire world, directly or indirectly, as you will. I'm just really terrified that America's got to the point that there are people who make such a horrific decisions and they vote for a guy. And you know what? I think primarily one reason, you might tell me I'm wrong, but I think it was just that Hillary is a woman and he's a guy, and given the choice of a guy versus a woman, no matter how bad and awful it might be, is that, you know what, we're gonna go with a guy. You know, we don't know how a woman is gonna run the country, especially since we never had a history of a previous president in America. So, but either way, I think that is definitely terror right there. In terms of solution, then one thing we can do, I think everything comes down from one thing, and basically it has roots in one thing. That is, we are divided over these whole divisions of our, what we call our self-interest to begin with, several parties within America and beyond America, just people in different nations. I really believe that, our sake and our survival for a better world would be if we just stop hating each other and stop. It's not necessarily hatred, seeing that basically, it is in a form of a hate, and definitely that is a good weapon to use to promote that kind of policy. But the idea is that basically our survival is in sake of the suffering of other people, and the fact that if we give them an inch, they'll take an L, and they will take an head, and they'll come after us, and they will get ahead of us, and that will pose a danger and a threat to our welfare and our survival. So I think this whole notion needs to go, basically needs to be go obsolete, and we need to stop thinking that way. If we just come to an understanding that we are the same people, we all same. Yeah, I know, strange enough, we all call each other human beings, but we have so much of a difference between each other, and it's not a matter of a race, it's just a matter of a nationality, and a matter of the fact that, this guy is after me, he's after us, and there's no way around it, just to make sure there's tons of weapons and military bases and warships running around, securing and threatening and intimidating and oppressing them, assuring them that, hey, we're the boss here, and don't even think about taking any kind of action against us. But it's so bad. I think if you stop just thinking this way and come out and really try to make some bonding with each other, I believe that is the solution to our survival. Because think about it, I'm not concerned about the policy. I know it's not going to change, but the fact that the American attitude has got to the point that they selected this guy as just the terror, and I'm afraid that it's going to manifest itself in many, many other bad ways beyond just the fact of selecting this guy. So take this serious and try to do something about it. Stop the hatred, stop, thinking so negative about other people who are outside your borders. It's funny, as long as they're within your border, even they're Muslim, they're Hispanic, they're fucking Iranian, Arab, Pakistanis, Saudis, whatever, more or less, maybe because of the legal boundaries, you come to some point to respect them even, and not to just try to live with them, you just somehow try to come out and all of a sudden respect them, but all of a sudden you even talk about building this huge wall between United States and fucking Mexico, because hey, guess what, if they're outside, then they're not humans and they're not worthy of consideration. But if they do happen to come in, then all of a sudden they're Hispanics and we respect them and they're fine and we can live with them, and even we grant them a lot of rights, such as even giving them a driver's license, even legalizing them, trying to do what we can to support them. This is terrible. I think I have no idea how this mentality works. Why, as long as you're within America, everything is okay. Once you step outside, everything all of a sudden is against you, especially if you're not an American citizen. I personally had a chance to become an American citizen, but every time I wanted to go for it, I just felt so deeply empty, especially considering about all the crimes and atrocities that America has committed throughout the especially last 50 years, not considering all the crimes that's been committed throughout the last 300 years, ever since this country was supposedly instituted. As I said this one time in a Facebook, this guy was talking about the whole fact that, slavery was not a good thing, and Thomas Jefferson and people who wrote the Constitution and signed it, they didn't want slavery, but because the whole southern states who relied on slavery, they demanded them to basically removed that clause of all men created equal and slavery being abolished, basically, for the sake of that union. They basically removed that clause, and they decided that for time being, they don't want to include that clause of, abolishing slavery. Now, my comment was that, apparently that was not the only thing that these fellows did. They also did a great job of killing and eradicating a lot of Native Americans on top of a lot of other crimes that they did. So what he sound like saying is just that everybody in that crowd just, for their own good and for their own interest, decided to sign the Constitution and enjoy the whole glory, the whole wealth that America has to offer through the means of the slavery, the land, the mines, everything in terms of natural resources and everything else that it has to offer. But for the time being, just kick out the British because we don't want to give them a share or give any other colonizer a share. That was my thing. So these people were nothing but criminals. They all themselves owned a lot of slaves. Thomas Jefferson, in case you didn't know, he himself owned a lot of slaves, hundreds of slaves. George Washington did. Patrick Henry, James Madison, they all owned slaves. Yet again, they spoke of all men are created equal for the fact that, you know what, we don't want to, we have to come up with some extreme clause or something that really distinguishes us from the British and the way they're doing the business. Funny enough is that at a time in Britain, actually slavery was abolished and, it was not allowed. But yet in America, given the opportunity and the fact that it's the land of the anarchy and nobody has the ability to come and enforce any kind of law, all of a sudden it is okay to do that. Anyways, so really all I'm trying to say, my conclusion is that this is a time that America needs to kind of assimilate itself in the world. That is, we need to help them come out of this nutshell that they built around themselves and being so stupid. And I mean it. They're being so stupid. It's got to so bad point. I thought when Arnold was basically elected as the governor of the California, that was a point of really just terror, and the point that we really need some serious changes. But I guess that was just limited to California, and yeah, in terms of policy and application, not much of changes occurred because he had a lot of advisors, and the policy was really to maintain the state and overall maintain America. But people now in America got to the point that they have this huge, obsolete, stupid mindset who do many bad choices. Yet again, they're being controlled as far as going to the criminal part by the whole law enforcement and things like that. But what I'm trying to say is just a boiling thing that is just about to burst any minute and any second because people's mind is full of shit. They're fucked really bad. They're really ready to explode, and it's going to take over not just America, it's going to take over the world, and it's going to affect everybody. So we really need to open the doors and try to have a dialogue among people of different world parts and civilizations to come and talk, paying attention. I am from Iran, and I remember we used to see a lot of movies from America, from Canada, from UK, all over the world. We had so many TV programs from all over the world, Japanese programs, Korean programs. Well, actually not much of Korean, but a lot of Indian programs. There was a top-notch, big part of the basically programs we used to watch. American, Canadian, British, Japanese, and Indian. These were like the main sectors of this whole pie of the given programs that came from outside. But look at it, in America, ever since I got to America, I never saw any foreign movie. I hardly saw any movie or any program, any documentary that was made outside America and made its way to America. So it's just a one-way channel. It's a closed channel that, yes, American Hollywood manages to broadcast and promote this whole cultural MTV, banga-boonga, wildness, do anything you want, freedom, yeah, at a controlled level, because you can only do it a certain way, because this freedom of speech does not really exist anywhere in the world except in America, and even in America to a certain point. And if you really want to apply that freedom of speech, you get in trouble. So I'm saying that we got to a really critical point. I hope you understand what I'm saying and you're with me and are willing to start a movement where we all destroy these boundaries of being an American, being an Iranian, being a freakish European, whatever it is. Just embrace humanity and declare a new religion, whatever you want to call it. It's called just one thing: goodness, humanity. You know what? This guy Zoroaster, nobody knows his exact time, and 8,000 years ago, 6,000 years ago, just said one thing: good thoughts, good words, good deeds, as was his whole motto, and there was nothing else into it. And he encouraged people to think about what they see and what they hear, and then decide about it, not to just simply accept things. And there was no codified book to try to tell you that if you do this, you go to hell, if you do this, you go to heaven, and you be prized for something. There's no confession. You cannot confess to something that you did wrong. You're responsible for the things you do. You're not promised the promised land. There are no 72 virgins who are going to pleasure you. There's no such things whatsoever. So try to do something. This is the point. I think this is a really, really point that there's nothing beyond that. It's really, really a scary point. And if you don't make an action now, there's going to be a big problem for all of us. Trust me, America would not be immune from this problem. I'm telling you. You would be the first one who's going to suffer. Because these very Americans, they live in America. Trust me, who's going to take the hit first? The Americans. Peace, love, and happiness to all of you. Bye.